Welcome back to Days of Our Lives channel. Today we will learn about the explosive revelation that will forever change the lives of Tate Black and Holly Jonas as they prepare to embark on an unexpected journey of parenthood together, raising little Tesoro as their own family unit. The shocking truth finally emerges. The carefully constructed web of deception that Sophia Choi and Melinda Trask have woven around baby Tesoro's true identity is about to come crashing down in spectacular fashion. When Tate Black discovers that the precious infant he believed was adopted by a loving couple in Chicago has actually been right under his nose in Salem the entire time, his world will be turned completely upside down. The devastating realization that Sophia has been orchestrating an elaborate charade, complete with falsified adoption documents and fabricated correspondence from non-existent adoptive parents, will send shockwaves through the young father's already fragile emotional state. The moment of truth arrives when Tate finally connects the dots between little T and his own biological son. The name Tesoro, which Leo Stark and Javi Hernandez have been lovingly calling the abandoned baby, suddenly takes on profound new meaning as Tate realizes this isn't just any random infant. This is his own flesh and blood. The emotional tsunami that follows this revelation will be unlike anything Salem has witnessed in recent memory. As Tate grapples with the magnitude of Sophia's betrayal while simultaneously experiencing the overwhelming joy of discovering his son is alive and well, Holly's unwavering support and commitment. In the aftermath of this earth-shattering discovery, Holly Jonas emerges as Tate's strongest ally and most devoted supporter. Despite the complicated circumstances surrounding Tesoro's birth and the painful history between Tate and Sophia, Holly makes the extraordinary decision to stand by her boyfriend's side as he navigates the treacherous waters of unexpected fatherhood. Her mature response to this crisis demonstrates a level of emotional sophistication that surprises even those closest to her, including her grandmother Maggie Curtin. Holly's decision to embrace Tesoro as her own isn't made lightly. It represents a profound transformation in her character as she evolves from a typical teenager dealing with relationship drama to a young woman ready to take on the responsibilities of motherhood. The tender moments between Holly and the infant create some of the most heartwarming scenes in recent Days of Our Lives history, as viewers witness the natural maternal instincts that emerge when she holds Tesoro for the first time. Her gentle whispers of love and protection to the baby establish an immediate bond that transcends biological connections, the marriage proposal that changes everything. As Tate and Holly settle into their new reality as co-parents to Tesoro, their relationship deepens in ways neither anticipated. The shared responsibility of caring for an infant brings them closer together, creating an intimacy and partnership that goes far beyond typical teenage romance. Late-night feedings become opportunities for quiet conversations about their future, while diaper changes transform into moments of shared laughter and tender affection. The proposal itself unfolds in the most unexpected setting, the hospital nursery where Tesoro is receiving his routine checkup. Surrounded by the soft sounds of newborn babies and the gentle hum of medical equipment, Tate drops to one knee and presents Holly with a simple but meaningful ring that belonged to his grandmother. His words are heartfelt and honest. He doesn't just want Holly to be his girlfriend anymore. He wants her to be his wife, his partner in raising Tesoro, and his companion for life. Holly's acceptance comes with tears of joy streaming down her face as she realizes that this unconventional family unit feels more right than anything she's ever experienced. Their engagement represents not just a romantic commitment between two young people in love, but a sacred vow to provide Tesoro with the stable, loving home he deserves after such a tumultuous beginning to life. Nicole's maternal concerns and protective instincts. Nicole Walker's reaction to her daughter's engagement and instant motherhood creates some of the most emotionally charged scenes in the storyline. As a mother who has experienced her own share of heartbreak and loss when it comes to children, Nicole understands both the joy and the potential pain that comes with loving a child. Her initial response is one of protective concern. Holly is still so young, barely out of high school. And now she's proposing to take on the monumental responsibility of raising someone else's biological child. The confrontation between mother and daughter unfolds over several intense episodes, with Nicole expressing her fears about Holly's future being derailed by premature parenthood. She worries that her daughter is making decisions based on emotion rather than logic, potentially sacrificing her own dreams and aspirations in the process. Nicole's arguments are compelling and come from a place of genuine love. She wants Holly to have every opportunity in life, not to be tied down by responsibilities that belong to others. However, as Nicole witnesses the genuine love and natural parenting abilities that Holly displays with Tesoro, her resistance begins to soften. The sight of her daughter confidently feeding the baby, changing diapers with practiced ease, and soothing Tesoro's cries with maternal instincts that seem to come from somewhere deep within gradually convinces Nicole that perhaps this unexpected path might actually be the right one for Holly. Maggie's wisdom and generational perspective. Maggie Curtin brings a different perspective to the family discussions about Holly's future. As someone who has raised children and witnessed multiple generations of Salem families navigate complex relationships, Maggie possesses a wisdom that comes from decades of life experience. Her initial conversation with Holly about the engagement is marked by gentle probing questions designed to ensure that her granddaughter truly understands the magnitude of the commitment she's making. Maggie's approach is more nuanced than Nicole's direct opposition. She neither encourages nor discourages Holly's decision, but instead focuses on helping her granddaughter think through all the implications. Their heart-to-heart conversations explore topics ranging from the practical challenges of raising a child while maintaining a marriage, to the emotional complexities of loving a child who isn't biologically yours but becomes yours in every way that matters. The turning point in Maggie's acceptance comes during a quiet evening when she finds Holly rocking Tesoro to sleep while humming a lullaby. The peaceful scene, combined with the obvious contentment radiating from both Holly and the baby, convinces Maggie that some families are formed through choice and love rather than biology, and that these chosen families can be just as strong and meaningful as traditional ones. The legal and emotional complications. The path to Tate and Holly's happily ever after isn't without significant obstacles, particularly when it comes to the legal aspects of Tesoro's custody. Sophia's elaborate deception has created a legal nightmare that requires careful navigation by experienced attorneys. The falsified adoption papers that Tate signed under false pretenses must be legally voided, while new custody arrangements need to be established that reflect the true circumstances of Tesoro's parentage. The emotional complications prove even more challenging than the legal ones. Sophia's desperate attempts to maintain her lies create ongoing drama, as she realizes that her carefully constructed narrative is crumbling around her. Her panic at the thought of losing control over the situation leads to increasingly desperate measures, including attempts to convince Tate that Holly isn't mature enough to help raise his son. Meanwhile, Leo Stark and Javi Hernandez face their own heartbreak as they're forced to say goodbye to the baby they've grown to love as their own. Their journey from temporary caregivers to reluctant participants in a custody battle adds another layer of emotional complexity to an already challenging situation. Their genuine love for Tesoro and their pain at having to give him up creates some of the most poignant moments in the entire storyline. A new beginning for the young family. As the dust settles from the revelation and the various family members come to terms with the new reality, Tate, Holly, and Tesoro begin to establish their own family traditions and routines. Their small apartment becomes a sanctuary filled with baby equipment, late-night study sessions as both young parents continue their education, and the everyday joys and challenges of raising an infant. The wedding planning process becomes a community effort, with various Salem residents contributing their expertise and support. From Marlene Evans offering counseling guidance to help the young couple navigate the early stages of marriage, to Julie Williams sharing decades of wisdom about balancing love and responsibility. The entire community rallies around this unconventional but deeply loving family unit. The ultimate message of acceptance from both Nicole and Maggie comes not through grand gestures or dramatic proclamations, but through small, everyday actions, Nicole arriving with homemade baby food, Maggie knitting tiny sweaters, and both women gradually embracing their new roles as grandmother and great-grandmother to a child who came into their lives through the most unexpected circumstances. This heartwarming storyline proves that in Salem, as in life, families come in all shapes and sizes, and love truly can conquer even the most complicated circumstances when people are willing to open their hearts to possibilities they never imagined. Next, the episode following August 15th gave us two very different but equally gripping stories. One about an unlikely pairing at the Salem Inn, and another about a tense legal showdown that left everyone on edge. Leo's unexpected quarantine companion. The day begins in the cozy but often eventful lobby of the Salem Inn. Leo Stark, never one to hold his tongue, was in no mood to pretend he was enjoying himself. The moment he found out he'd be stuck in quarantine as part of the jury sequestration, he launched into a string of complaints worthy of his flair for drama. Just a few feet away, another juror, Adam, a mild-mannered, bearded man with the air of a friendly neighbor you'd trust to water your plants was practically falling apart, though not for the same reason. Adam's panic wasn't about the trial or the confinement. No, his worrying came from the fact that he and his wife never stayed in fancy hotels like this. In his mind, the Salem Inn was practically the Ritz. It quickly became clear that Adam's wife is a devoted fan of Body and Soul, that over-the-top soap opera within a soap opera. She apparently thinks Leo is not only talented but downright brilliant. The irony wasn't lost on Leo, who has spent years being underestimated or ridiculed by people who never took the time to see his wit and flair. But when Adam learned they'd be sharing a room, Leo's reaction was pure Stark-style sarcasm, biting, theatrical, and designed to leave no doubt he would not be thrilled by this arrangement. Adam, on the other hand, was over the moon. The idea of being able to tell his wife that he was sharing a hotel room with the Leo Stark was enough to have him itching to pick up the landline, yes, the actual landline phone. Like in the good old days, and call home right that minute. When they finally entered their assigned room, Leo's face fell even further. It was, in his words, far too small for two civilized men to coexist without conflict. Adam, however, was charmed by its coziness, already making himself at home while rolling his suitcase to the corner. They exchanged a few polite pleasantries. Adam's warm, easygoing chatter contrasted with Leo's slightly guarded replies before a call came from the bailiff. It was time to head back to the courthouse. High stakes in the hallway. While Leo's day was taking a comedic turn, the courthouse was charged with tension. In the hallway outside the courtroom, Johnny DiMera had one thing on his mind: protecting Chanel. His father, EJ, however, is not known for holding back when there's a point to be made. Johnny practically pleaded with him not to drag Chanel into trouble when she took the stand. EJ, ever the calculated player, brushed him off with a sly remark before pushing past. "Whatever you want, John Roman," he said, his words carrying that DiMera blend of charm and challenge. Inside the courtroom, the atmosphere was no less tense. Paulina Price, ever the fiercely protective mother, was quick to offer Belle a rare compliment, praising her skillful handling of the prosecution so far. But the moment's warmth faded as Paulina's thoughts turned dark. She feared EJ would use a certain video of Chanel to destroy her credibility in court. Belle, calm and steady as always, reassured her. Even if EJ played the video, she insisted, it wasn't strong enough to convict Chanel, especially if Johnny was acquitted. That was small comfort. But in the high-stakes environment of a trial, sometimes small comforts are all you get. Chanel on the stand. When the moment came, Chanel walked to the witness stand with her head held high. She knew the weight of her testimony, both for her husband and for her own reputation. At first, she spoke confidently, defending Johnny and painting a picture of their relationship that emphasized trust, love, and loyalty. But EJ wasn't about to let her have the last word. Slowly, deliberately, he shifted the focus of his questioning. He coaxed her into admitting that she had, at one point, blamed him for Johnny's change of heart about the adoption. Then, with the precision of a man who knows the dramatic value of timing, he pulled out the video, the one showing Chanel in a heated moment, threatening him. The air in the courtroom seemed to thicken. Chanel's eyes widened. She protested, saying it never happened the way the video suggested, but EJ cut her off sharply, not giving her room to explain. His final words to her were as cold as they were final. "No more questions, Judge." Judge's gavel in hand, the court ruled that Belle would cross-examine Chanel the next day. For now, the trial was adjourned, leaving an unsettled silence in the room as people filed out. The damage to Chanel's credibility had been done. Whether the jury believed it or not was another matter entirely. Two worlds, one town. And so the day in Salem ended with two very different kinds of drama. Upstairs at the Salem Inn, an odd couple learning to share a too-small room, and downstairs at the courthouse, a mother worrying for her daughter's future while a ruthless lawyer chipped away at the truth. Leo's irritation with his new roommate might fade over time, or it might erupt into comedic chaos. As for Chanel, the trial is far from over, and tomorrow's testimony could make or break her case. In true Salem fashion, the answers won't come easily, and the path to justice will be paved with personal grudges, strategic moves, and moments of raw, human vulnerability. One thing is certain, in this town, whether you're sharing a bed and breakfast with a talkative stranger or facing off against a DiMera in court, you're never far from your next big plot twist.